There's a mansion worth $50 million in the Hamptons. It has a home theater, a nightclub basement, a gold-plated bathroom, and 3 infinity pools. And then 3 miles away, there's a property that has been in the same family for 140 years. No infinity pool, no nightclub, no gold anything. And yet every single person who has walked through both front doors says the exact same thing. One of those homes feels like money. The other just feels expensive. Today, we're going to find out exactly why. Today, we're going inside old money homes, not the ones featured on real estate Instagram, not the ones designed for showing off, the real ones with peeling library wallpaper that costs $800 a roll, oil portraits of ancestors you've never heard of, and kitchen gardens that have been producing food since the 1890s. I'm going to take you room by room from the entrance hall to the grounds, and I'm going to show you the specific things that old money families do choose and refuse that define this look. The things no interior designer can fully manufacture, no matter how big the budget. Because here's the thing that most people get wrong about the old money aesthetic. These homes are not designed. They are accumulated. And that one distinction changes absolutely everything you're about to see. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will never look at a luxury home the same way again. What is old money? First, let's be precise about what we actually mean by old money, because it gets thrown around carelessly. Old money is inherited wealth, wealth that has been in a family for at least 2 or 3 generations, sometimes far more. In America, we're talking about families like the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the DuPonts, the Astors. In Europe, the Rothschilds, the Cecils, the landed aristocracy, whose names appear on the same estate deeds for 300 years. These are families whose wealth didn't just survive one person's lifetime, it survived recessions, wars, punishing inheritance taxes, and every generation's temptation to simply spend it. And here's what happens to a home when wealth persists through that many generations. The family stops trying to look wealthy. By the 3rd or 4th generation, there is no performance, no signaling, no demonstration. They simply are who they are, and so are their homes. That absence of effort to impress is exactly what makes the old money aesthetic so recognizable and so maddeningly difficult to fake. You cannot buy your way into it. You can only inherit it or wait long enough. And in a culture of instant everything, that is the ultimate luxury. The exterior, architecture, and approach. Start from the outside. Old money homes telegraph everything before you've even touched the door handle. The first thing you notice is age. Not neglect age. There is a fundamental difference. Old money families do not tear down and rebuild. They restore. They extend in sympathetic styles. They maintain. A house that has been in a family for 120 years should look like it. The stone is weathered. The brick has a patina. The ivy, real ivy, established over decades, climbs original masonry. The proportions are classical, almost always. Symmetrical facades, generous sash windows, with original glass slightly wavy, slightly distorted, because the glass itself is old enough to have character. Wide porticos, deep eaves. These aren't features chosen from an architect's portfolio. They are the surviving bones of Beaux-Arts, Georgian, federal, or English country house traditions, built when permanence was the default assumption. The approach is everything. Old money homes are set back. The driveway always gravel, never poured concrete or herringbone brick. Curves so the house is revealed gradually rather than presented all at once. This is deliberate, even if no one today made the decision. It was designed that way a century ago. It remains that way because nobody has felt the need to change it. The trees lining that driveway were planted by someone who is long dead. The same trees that shaded horse-drawn carriages are now shading the family's Range Rovers. You will almost never see a fountain at the entrance of an old money property. No lion statues flanking the door. No illuminated address numbers in a modern font. The restraint of the exterior is itself the loudest statement it makes. We have nothing to prove. The entrance hall, step inside. The entrance hall. And it is an entrance hall, never a foyer in old money circles, by the way, then sets the tone for everything that follows. These spaces are generous. High ceilings, stone floors, or original hardwood worn to a beautiful smoothness. And critically, they are functional spaces, not staging areas. You will find umbrellas in a stand by the door, muddy boots on a rack, real coats on a coat rack, because this family actually comes in from the cold. Walking sticks, riding helmets, a dog lead, casually arranged because these are things that people in this house genuinely use every day. The walls are doing significant work. Oil portraits, family portraits, multiple generations of them, hang in mismatched frames from different eras. A barometer on the wall, probably inherited, probably still read every morning. A side table, a period piece, slightly scuffed at the corners because it has stood in exactly that spot for 60 years. The most important feature of an old money entrance hall is what it lacks. There is no statement chandelier chosen for its visual drama. No designer mirror centered on an accent wall. No gallery of carefully curated prints. The hall says one thing and says it quietly. This is a house people live in, have always lived in, and intend to go on living in. The living rooms, comfort over performance. This is where the old money aesthetic becomes most vivid and most frequently misunderstood by people trying to replicate it. Old money living rooms are, above everything else, comfortable, not curated for a photo shoot, not assembled according to a design brief. Comfortable. The sofas are often old enough that the cushions have permanently shaped themselves to the people who have sat in them for 30 years. The upholstery is quality, always quality, but it may be faded, worn at the armrests, recovered once in a fabric that's not quite the same as the original. Nobody replaced the sofa. The sofa itself is an heirloom. The furniture has not been chosen to match. It has been accumulated across generations. A Georgian writing desk beside a 1940s leather club chair, beside a Victorian settee. None of it coordinates. All of it belongs together through time. This is the single most important detail in understanding the old money interior. It is coherent without being coordinated. It achieves harmony through history, not through the intervention of a professional eye. Color palettes run toward the muted and the deep. Forest green, faded terracotta, navy, ivory that was once white but has aged gently over decades. Walls paneled in original wood or covered in wallpaper that has been on those walls for 30 years and shows it. There is no gray and white farmhouse palette here. No grayish. These colors were chosen in a different era, before color trends were even a cultural phenomenon. Oriental rugs cover the floors, not wall to wall, not matching sets, but layered individual rugs of different ages, patterns, and origins. A Tabriz here, a Bokhara there. Some were acquired on travels. Some were inherited. Some came from estate sales 2 generations ago. Together they form a textile autobiography of the family. And books. Books everywhere. Not arranged by color, not bought by the yard, not selected for their spines. These are books with bookmarks in them. books with dog-eared corners, books in stacks on side tables because the shelves are full. A family that has occupied the same house for 150 years accumulates an extraordinary number of books, and they show no inclination to manage the collection aesthetically. Art and collections, the biography on the walls. Old money families do not decorate with art. They live with it. There is a profound difference between those two things. The paintings on an old money wall are there because they have always been there, or because a great-uncle bought them in Florence in 1923, or because they were commissioned to commemorate something specific, a horse, a marriage, a country house in Ireland the family no longer owns. They are not there because a designer recommended them or because they represent a good investment. The art is not necessarily valuable in today's market. You will find old money walls hung with unfashionable landscapes, hunting scenes, botanical prints, maritime paintings, subject matter the contemporary art market has not particularly rewarded, but that families have held on to for 100 years for sentimental reasons. Occasionally, there will be a genuinely significant work, a minor old master, an important portrait, and it will be hanging directly beside something entirely modest, with no curatorial logic whatsoever. Because there is no curator, there is only the family. Objects tell the same story. Silver trophy cups from 1950s regattas. A collection of snuff boxes that belonged to a great-grandmother. Glass-fronted cabinets of natural history specimens, shells, fossils, mounted butterflies, geological samples, accumulated across generations of curious living. These objects are not curated. They are simply kept. The difference, when you stand in the room, is palpable. The kitchen. Function, never fashion. The old money kitchen may be the most revealing room in the house, because it is where the gap between old and new money design is most stark and most honest. Old money kitchens are working kitchens, large rooms, often flagstone floored, with an aga or equivalent range cooker that has been in that same spot for decades. The cabinetry is painted cream or a deep racing green, and it was painted at least 20 years ago. The handles are slightly worn. There are chips in the paint at the corners. Nobody has had them redone because the kitchen functions perfectly well as it is. There is a kitchen table, not an island, a table at which the family eats breakfast, where homework has been done by 4 generations of children, where dogs sleep and friends are fed and decisions are made. This table has a warmth and a history that no kitchen island with waterfall marble edges can replicate in 5 years or 10. What is conspicuously absent? Every appliance purchased for its looks. No espresso machine displayed like sculpture. No open shelving arranged with photogenic precision. No pot filler faucet installed because it was fashionable. The kitchen is stocked with real tools for real cooking. Serious pots, inherited copper, a collection of mismatched mugs that nobody could bring themselves to throw away. Old money kitchens are for cooking, not for photographing. The bedroom, restraint in the private spaces. Old money bedrooms are where the aesthetic reaches its most serene expression and its most complete rejection of the hospitality-inspired luxury that dominates modern interior design. There are no hotel-style beds, no 7-pillow arrangements, no decorative throw arranged at precisely the right angle. Old money bedrooms have beds that are made in the morning and slept in at night, with bedding, almost always white or pale stripe, that is genuinely high quality but completely unpretentious. The furniture is often the same furniture that has been in that room for 40 or 50 years. A chest of drawers, a wardrobe, not a walk-in closet with LED strip lighting, but a wardrobe, possibly a beautiful period armoire, with a door that doesn't close quite right because wood moves over time. A dressing table with a proper mirror where someone actually sits to get ready. Personal items accumulate authentically. Framed photographs of real moments, not gallery-quality prints, but actual family photographs. Books stacked on both nightstands. A reading lamp positioned for actual reading, not atmospheric effect. An inherited rug. A watercolor of somewhere the family has loved for generations. Old money bedrooms feel, more than anything else, personal, like someone genuinely lives and sleeps in them, because someone does. The grounds, time, made visible. The grounds of an old money estate are the exterior expression of everything we've seen inside: time, accumulation, and a complete absence of the need to impress. Old money gardens are not manicured to perfection. They are cared for, but they are living systems. Something is always blooming and something has always gone to seed. The herbaceous borders are lush and slightly wild. The kitchen garden, if there is one, is genuinely productive, not ornamental. The walled garden has been feeding this family for generations. Topiary exists in old money gardens, but it is old topiary. Yews and box hedges shaped over decades into forms that have slightly relaxed from their original precision. These are not freshly planted, perfectly geometric shapes installed by a landscaper last spring. They are living sculptures that have been tended by multiple generations of gardeners. The estate structures exist because they have always existed. A stone folly at the water's edge. A boathouse. Crumbling orangery, being perpetually restored and never quite finished. A stable block that still smells of horses. These are maintained because they belong, not because they add value to a property listing. And then, perhaps the single greatest marker of old money outdoor space, there are the trees. Enormous, ancient, utterly irreplaceable trees. Trees planted by people who have been dead for 100 years. Trees that will outlast everyone alive on the property today. In a culture that has made an obsession of the instant, old money estates are full of things that took a century to become what they are. The philosophy, why it feels different. After everything we've walked through today, I want to leave you with the one idea that explains all of it. Old money homes are not a design style. They are a philosophy of living. Specifically, the philosophy that a home is not a statement. It is not a performance. It is not a projection of aspiration or status. A home is a place where a family lives, has lived, and intends their children to live. Every decision, or more often, every non-decision, every choice not to replace the sofa or repave the drive, serves that singular purpose. The quiet luxury of old money interiors is not quiet because quietness is fashionable this season. It is quiet because these families have simply never felt the need to be loud. When you have had wealth for 150 years, you have nothing to signal and no one you need to signal it to. The patina of the floors, the age of the trees, the worn chair by the fire, these things communicate more wealth than any show kitchen or infinity pool ever could to anyone with the education to read them. And that is the final wonderful irony at the heart of the old money aesthetic. The less you try, the more it says. If this fascinated you, and I think it did because you made it all the way here, the next video you should watch is the one on quiet luxury. What actually separates the genuine old money style from the trends trying to copy it. It goes deeper into the fashion, the behavior, and the everyday habits that mark someone as having grown up with generational wealth rather than acquired it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.